This video will cover our experience in OCBC Cycle 2024. We signed up for the 20-kilometer race this time, so there's also a 40-kilometer version which takes you through most of Singapore. That one was full. For the 20-kilometer version, we had a 5:30 start time, so we got up pretty early to prepare for that. What you can see here is I'm just passing through the main OCBC square area where all the other riders are gathering. So we had originally thought we had to re-register, so we were looking to go to one of the staff, but they told us we can go straight ahead and line up for the race. If you see the piece of paper on everyone's back, that's for registering for the race, and we picked that up the night before. There's also a piece of paper for your bike that you can put on the seat post, and that's what everyone has as well. So just a quick explanation on the route. This is the Singapore OCBC Cycle map, and we take the blue route here, which starts from the National Stadium and then also ends there. It takes us through the central business district of Singapore, all the way to Marina Bay Sands and Gardens by the Bay before turning back. So a little bit about the setup I'm recording on. It's a 360 camera, but I have reframed the footage, so it's just a 1080p stream. I'm using the Insta360 One RS 1-inch edition. I'm using a lens cover as part of the setup, so to make sure even if I dropped the lens, the actual lens glass elements don't get scratched up, which would render the camera unusable. This is just after the race started, and we're passing by Golden Mile on the right side. After reaching Golden Mile, we turned left and we're heading towards the Kallang River area. And then we make a sharp turn here to head towards the Suntec City area. Normally all these surface streets have a lot of traffic, but as part of the OCBC Cycle event, they shut down all the streets to cars, so that's why you only see bikes on the road. This isn't really a race, but you can see some riders are much better than others and are going much faster. So it's more of just like a free-for-all, and you can go as fast as you like around the course. They actually shut down the area for around 2 or 3 days, I believe, and just in the morning, so they open up the highways later on in the day. We're heading towards the Jalan Besar or Kallang area here again. The 20-kilometer route we're going through is called the City Route, so that means it's mostly based around the central business district or downtown area of Singapore. This is our first time in any sort of organized cycling event, so much of the race was just getting used to the amount of other cyclists on the road. You can actually stop at any time during this ride and take pictures if you want, or just grab water. I'm not sure exactly how long you can be on the road, but I know some people were out there for longer than we were, so I'd assume at least until 10 a.m. This area here is the F1 grandstands, which they build up every year, so there's some buildings under construction that you can see. And then after the end of every race, they tear down all the buildings over the course of around 3 to 4 months. If anyone's been to Singapore, this should be a pretty familiar sight, seeing Marina Bay Sands in the distance there. So in this clip, I'm pretty much going all out up the hill, start to pick up some speed here. This is the first of a few climbs during this whole course. It's probably the shortest climb. I thought it would be one of the longest climbs on the course, the 20-kilometer one, but there are a few later on in the course that are at least 3 times longer. So after you finish the climb, you kind of go downhill into the Marina Bay Sands area. So Marina Bay Sands is the hotel on the left side, and it also has a convention center and a mall, which you can see on the right side. After the Marina Bay Sands section, we kind of do a loop around the back way of the CBD, or Central Business District. I actually used to work on the building on the right side. It's one of the most futuristic looking offices in Singapore, and this whole area is kind of either offices or condos for people working in the offices. In the center of the frame here is Guko Tower. It's where Tanjung Pagar MRT is, and it's notable for being the tallest structure in Singapore. We're turning in now to the expressway or the highway. Over here is one of the rest stops, so they offer 100 plus, which is a kind of like Gatorade here in Singapore. It's like an energy drink that's sponsoring the race. Here we're posing on one of the expressways that is heading to the city. On the left side is Marina Bay Sands, or Marina Bay rather, and then on the right side is the Singapore Flyer. This is probably the largest incline in the course, so you can see a lot of riders making their way up the hill. Some are walking because the incline is a bit too steep, especially if you lose momentum halfway through the ramp. People are using various types of cycles on this race. So there's actually a few races this year. One is specifically for road bikes, and that is a actual race. And I think there's both an individual and then there is a team challenge. This one is a more casual race, so it's basically open to any type of bike. So you'll see folding bikes here, which are pretty common around Singapore. Then you'll see hybrid bikes like the one I'm on. And then of course also some road bikes and mountain bikes. This is sort of towards the home stretch of the race, so we're heading down the ramp here. On the left side is the Marina Bay, the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, and Suntec City. And straight ahead is Tanjong Route, which is a series of condominiums in Singapore. Here we're passing by Golden Mile again. It's under refurbishment. It's in the Bugis area, which the Singapore government is kind of turning into a secondary CBD. So there's a lot of development going on in that area. Here we're onto the home stretch. You can see the National Stadium in the distance, and that's actually where the race ends. I've never actually seen this entrance into the National Stadium, but apparently they open it up for events like this, where you can just ride or run directly through the starting or the finish line. This was a pretty dramatic view that I don't think the camera can capture in all its detail. As we're heading into the stadium, we're passing under the stands, and you can see the stadium open up in the middle here. And there's a giant bike that you can see, which is really cool. They have a few of these inflatable bikes outside in the registration area of the race. After you finish the race, you get a medal, and then a few drinks and a banana to replenish yourself. This is our first experience with any sort of organized mass cycling event, and I'll say it was pretty well run. At the start there were gigantic crowds, but it was pretty clear where you had to go the whole way. It definitely got us interested in more events like this, so we're on the lookout for similar events in Singapore. And even abroad, apparently there's an OCBC Cycle in KL. For anyone interested in a mass cycling event like this on a closed course, OCBC Cycle happens around May every year in Singapore, so you can check it out for the next edition next year.